issues, $250 issues, $400 issues. Most good attorneys would tell all three of us on this line that if it's a financial dispute of less than $3,000, don't even bother hiring them. But most of life's financial disputes are well under $3,000 each, and that's why it's nice to have the attorneys advocate. We also review the members' contracts and documents up to 15 pages in length, which I think is very practical when you stop to consider that everything you and I have ever signed in the past or will in the future is written by somebody else's attorney. So I think it just makes prudent sense to have an attorney review all those things before we sign them and commit family finances and sign on the dotted line. So, and if a person led a complicated life, they could have a contract reviewed every single week. They could have letters written every single week. They could call the law firm every single day if they had a need. There's no financial decision. It's all part of their monthly premium. Now, every sale has a hook. Of course, ours does too. Our hook is will preparation. Consumer Reports tells us that 80% of America doesn't have an up-to-date will. Well, we eliminate America's excuses because we remove the financial decision because the will is included. We provide the will, the living will, advanced health directives, not just for the employee, but also for their spouse or significant other. So if they're a Brady Bunch situation or a blended family and need two sets of docs, each set of docs, if you went to have an attorney do, would be $500 to $1,000. So we're talking $1,000 to $2,000 worth of value for a family as soon as they enroll. It gives them an excuse to enroll and experience the service, and trust me, they get hooked. They feel so empowered that a law firm is already doing something for them. They might even call them back and say, "Hey, we're not sure what you meant by your how you answered question 10B." So the law firm gives the member a call, and they don't have to worry about getting a bill. And it becomes very empowering very quickly, and they start to get reconditioned the other way versus how they were conditioned growing up to avoid attorneys. Because at the end of the day, we would all use attorneys more frequently if they were free. But since we'll never live in that utopia of free attorneys, Legal Shield's assembled the next best option, which is to provide that service on that month-to-month low-cost premium. Now, we also covered any questions so far, Mitch?
I would assume that the revisions to those documents would also be covered down the road.
Absolutely. Once annual updates on those documents are included at no cost.
Gotcha. And is there one specific law firm that you partnered with in Chicago, or is it multiple firms to handle the business?
No, actually, what we've done is we've put together a provider network where in each state we have one contracted law firm that is the clearinghouse or intake for all member matters statewide. That just happens to be right there in Chicago. So even if a person lives in southern Illinois, they still contact the Chicago provider firm, because our whole goal is to not only make it affordable, but also make it accountable and efficient. And by paying one contracted firm that big bucket load of money every month, it creates quality control. Because once again, we are that firm's single largest client. We found that that's also very efficient for the member. For example, we give you a dedicated, correct me if I'm wrong, Bonnie, but I think it's a 708 phone number into the provider firm. Legal Shield owns that number, and it's one-stop shopping for the member, so they can actually program that right on the speed dial of their smartphone, so that whenever they have a legal need, they don't have to go through a directory like medical, where you have to figure out who's in network, who's out of network, who's the foot specialist, who's the ear specialist. I need heart surgery. I mean, you wouldn't know. You'd have to go through and figure out and jump through a bunch of hoops. Whereas with Legal Shield, you can just dial that number on your speed dial. The intake specialist then goes and diagnoses or triages your situation, verifies you're a member in the system, asks what to happen, who else is involved, they check for conflicts, and then let's say the real estate question. Then what happens is they go and they assign your file to the real estate specialist within the firm, and that's who calls you back within 4 to 8 working hours. Now, that's contractually. Realistically, it's usually about 20 minutes to 2 hours that attorney will call you back. So you had your real estate question answered, you had anything that you needed done, but next week you've got a will question or a tax question. You don't want to talk to last week's real estate specialist, but you go through the same process. You call that dedicated phone number, very efficient. The intake specialist gives you a new file number, and now the tax attorney is the one that calls you back this week. Does that make sense?
It does. And so, who is the legal firm you partnered up with in Chicago, and how long have you had that relationship? Those legal sheets had that relationship.
Bonnie, what's the name of the firm? I always forget it.
Sure, yeah, it is a long name. Who we have here in Chicago is Evans Lowenstein.
Bonnie, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, our law firm here is Evans, Lowenstein, Szymanowski, and Moscardini. They're located on South Jefferson. I can't remember the exact number of years they've been with us. I think it's been about a decade would be my best guess. And I do know as well that they represent some of the Bulls, some of the Bears, Harris Bank. I mean, they're a very reputable law firm.
Okay. Bonnie, can you email me the law firm name just so I would love to go just kind of do some research?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually asked that you do that, so I'm glad that you asked that. I certainly will.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the firms that we contract with, Mitch, are very established firms. The average tenure of an attorney on staff at one of our firms is 19 years. The average tenure of our provider firms that have been contracted with us is 13 years. And, they have other clients. Like, for example, California. It's like a country in and of itself. There's 39 million people there. We have about 250,000 members. It's our largest membership state, but we have one of the oldest law firms in California, over 100 years old, Parker Stanberry, and all the calls, 1,200 calls a day, come into that firm. That would cripple most firms. But they've got it down to such a science that, not only do they represent Legal Shield, which happens to be their check-cutting client, but they also represent the LA Dodgers, Staples Center, and a myriad of other clients. And that's indicative of all of our firms nationwide. Because obviously your employees are primarily going to have Illinois-related issues, but they might be Michigan-related or Indiana-related. You never know. And that's the efficiency of the system that we've set up, so that even if a member has an Indiana matter, they still call their Chicago provider firm to start the process, and then they are seamlessly handed off to the reciprocal provider firm in Indiana for that issue. And then the Indiana firm takes over from there because Indiana is their backyard.
So you said the California firm. So there's 250,000 members in the state of California under the Legal Shield product, and there's 1,200 calls a day that come into that one specific law firm.
You betcha.
Wow, that's amazing.
And like I said, it's a 100-year-old firm.
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind that we have been doing this for 43 years. It hasn't always been smooth as silk like it is today.
Sure.
It's taken a long time to refine the system and break it down to a science. And, so much so that the law firms invest over $70,000 in a special phone and computer system that links in real time to our mainframe back at our corporate office. And we judge and evaluate and grade our law firms every single day because we can monitor on a daily basis how many calls came into the firm, how many were real estate related, how many were all the different areas of law there are, and there's 27 different areas, and we can help them staff up accordingly to make it even more efficient for our members.
Got it. Interesting.
So it's a really unique process, and it's worked beautifully for 43 years.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Because it is nation.